Hello again, this is Minicoder, bringing you another tutorial in the Basic Programming 101 course, or series that I'm doing. Last time, if you remember, we worked on classes and inheritance. I just wanted to go over really quick where we left off. So, I commented these things out, which is just using two forward slashes in C#. But if you remember correctly, we did this create a dog class, and we made a couple of methods that set speed, make noise. We didn't actually do anything with make noise and get name. Get name just returned a string, and it was an override. That override, if you looked in animal, was overriding the abstract class get name in animal, which didn't have a body because it is required in anything that inherits it, whereas make noise is a virtual, so you can override it, however it is not necessary. And then we found out that if you add properties, which have getters and setters if you want, or you can make it read-only by only giving it a get. But that when you give properties to the base class or abstract class, that whatever inherits it. Jeez, I'm having trouble talking today. Inherits it, you do not have to define those properties here. They will be just accessible to you within that class. And in fact, if you try to add them, it will warn you and tell you, hey, you're overriding the animal one, and the reason for that is because if you define anything in the animal one, you're overriding it in the dog, which is kind of you really don't want to do unless there's a really, really good reason for it. We also created the cat. I added a few things here to go over properties that we haven't gone over yet. And so I took everything that we already wrote, commented it out, and used what's called a region. Region allows you to take a block of code and do that, hide it. And then it'll give you that text that you put next to the region so you know what it is. So sometimes you may have a block of methods or something like that. I wouldn't say inside of a method you should ever have that, because if you have blocks inside of a method, as you can tell, this was already getting rather large for one method. You probably should look at whether or not you are following the principles of a single method doing a single thing. Is most likely doing too much. But if you have a collection of methods, you may want to break them down and say these are your gets, these are your posts, or your whatever you may have. So anyhow, I already had pre-written because I tried to record this and I had some problems, and so to make things go a little faster anyway, I already typed everything up. So this is what's called a private variable, which means that first of all it's got the private, so it's not accessible outside of the class, which is handy when you want to utilize something on a global scope within the class, but you don't want anybody outside of the class to know about it. And then we have this public property. So we kind of already went over public properties when we went into animal. And we had a blank get and set, which just gets the value that it currently is and sets the value to whatever is on the right hand side of the equal sign. Where is it? Cat. So what I wanted to demonstrate here was, first of all, having a private variable, and second of all, having a public variable that then sets that private variable and also gets it. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Whenever somebody calls the catnip and is just does the get, so it just no equal sign to the right side, it just retrieves it. It'll go and look at catnip, see up here, or if it's already got a value, and it'll see, okay, this is empty or this has a value, and return that. When you set it, you end up setting the same private variable equal to the value, which as you can see is highlighted in blue. That means that it's a keyword that C# and the compiler is going to understand. So what this value ends up being is on the right hand side of the assignment of the public variable. So what does all that mean that I just spit out? Value is going to end up being this meow mix. Okay, now I know we kind of did meow mix for something else. Oh, meow cat is what we did. Okay, good. So we didn't use the same string. So what's going to happen is the compiler at runtime is going to see, hey, you have catnip, you are assigning it this, and then when it tries to populate this, it's going to get the value, and the compiler already knows that it needs to pass it off to that value object that's inherent inside of the compiler, the C# libraries. You don't have to know or care about how that's happening. That's all abstracted out. So if we were to run this right now, okay, you'll see that I did what's known as a breakpoint. So a breakpoint, when you're in debug mode, will stop exactly where you put it. And all you do to do a breakpoint is you left click wherever you want to have a breakpoint. There's shortcuts too, but that's usually what I do. So I'm going to put a breakpoint there and a breakpoint there. So you're going to see right now catnip is empty. However, if you hover over value is going to be equal to mumix. So mumix is, again, what we got from here. Again, if you don't understand how that's happening, this is all happening under the covers, and you'd have to decompile the .NET code to really understand what's going on. But if you can just understand that every time you set a value to the public property, by assigning it an equal sign, and the right hand side is what it's assigned to, then you're ahead of the game. So if we were to hit continue, it'll hit the next breakpoint, and then if I hover over catnip, it's going to be mumix. If I hover over this one, this is the same thing, so it's going to be mumix. So you may or may not be able to see that this can be very valuable, because if for some reason you wanted somebody to set something, okay, and after setting something, you're giving them the ability to do something with it, well, that gives you the power to do other things. Like, let's say that you, for whatever reason, whatever value they put into catnip, you wanted to append, I don't know, name. Right, this dot name. So whatever the animal name is, remember we're getting this from animal if you hover over it. So whatever the value is, we're going to give the name. So actually, here's what we'll do. I like this better. Hold on, just to hit home here. So blanks favorite. Oops, hold on. Getting ahead of myself. Favorite food is, oops, value. Okay, so whatever value they give, we're going to append this name plus favorite food is, which I spelled wrong, and value. And it's going to become one long string, right? Because we learned in earlier episodes that the plus, similar to PHP, oh no, PHP is a dot, I'm sorry, so let me not confuse people that way. The plus means concatenate, which means put together. So it's just going to make this one long put together. That's why I put spaces here, to make it a little more readable. So let's do this. Yeah, no, that's fine. I was going to redefine the name there because it should make more sense, but that's fine. So we've got catnip, right? And let's do this. Cat.name is equal to Fred. Okay, so we gave it a name, and then we set the catnip. And then let's just do a console dot right line, or yeah, right line, and do cat dot catnip. There you go. Fred's favorite food is meal mix. So that all worked exactly as I expected. Um, there's a lot of power here. Generally speaking, you probably wouldn't set this like this, but I just want to show you the power of it. There are situations, because this is technically a method, you can say if this dot name is not equal to an empty string, then, and I know we didn't get into if statements and all that yet, but we will. Other else, like this, NA, like that, just to put something there. So what this will do is every time you try to set it, it's going to check to see if there's anything in the name, and if there is, then it'll do this, otherwise it'll do that. So you can really, there's a lot of power in this get and set. So just as an example, so if we run this right now, we'll get the same result. And if we take out Fred and save it and run it again, you'll see favorite food is Mumix. And actually that did not do what it was supposed to do. Hold on. NA favorite food dot plus value. That shouldn't have made a difference, but that's interesting. Well, here's where breakpointing comes in. So if we start it, I bet you this isn't is not equal to this dot name is not equal to empty. I bet you name is null, or a white space. This dot name, yep, it's null. Okay, so we didn't go over nulls yet. I'll go over that in the next video. However, so this didn't work because this is true. It is not empty. It is not null. And that should give us what we needed. There we go. NA favorite food is Mumix. Alright. So I think that brings us to a good point. I think we just went over properties and the difference between that. So I think before we go over variables, well, no, I think we'll go over variables, and then we're going to add to this statements, and we will also add null values, so that we can explain that a little better. So I'm going to hold on to that. The next video we will definitely go over variables. I want to explain to everybody the difference between an instance and a reference/member variable. They're very different, and will yield different results if you don't understand them properly. So for now, I will end this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Have a great day.